bang the gavel again.
Is that a roll?
Are you gonna send me to jail?
That's right. We'll see. All right, I'd like to call to order the District of Port Hardy regular council meeting for 7 p.m. Tuesday, September 24th. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional territory of the Coagulet people, so Gila Kesla.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'd like to get approval for the agenda as presented. John Tidbury and Councillor Smith. Adoption of minutes, minutes of the special council meeting held September 10th, 2024. Councillor Dorwood, Councillor Tidbury,
All in fair.
all in favor, sorry. Minutes of the regular council meeting held September 10th, 2024. Councillor Tidbury, Councillor Dugas, all in favor? Carried. Thank you for that. Delegations and requests to council, none in package. Business arising from the minutes and finished business. Council action item reports, any questions or concerns? None. New business, none in the agenda package. Correspondence, item 1, Kathy Wilson, manager of the Qualista Healing Center, Guasla Naquita Health and Family Services, regarding National Truth and Reconciliation Day, Every Child Matters March. Recommendation that council approve the request from Kathy Wilson, Guasla Naquita Health and Family Services, for a temporary road closure of a portion of Granville Street and Market Street from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Monday, September 30th, 2024 for the purposes of National Truth and Reconciliation Day, and that the district provide barricades.
I'll make the motion.
That motion, Trina Smith, Councillor Tidbury, questions and concerns?
Yeah, should we add into that recommendation or the motion recommendation, use of Carrot Park as well? Like,
And they're marching to where?
the lunch.
Any other questions or concerns?
I assume that's a friendly change for the recommendation.
And so I have to make a new motion to add that in.
No, it's good. Well,
Okay, all in favor?
quiet. And
Carried. Item number 2, Reagan Newcomb, Operations Director, Aquaculture Manager Division, regarding the consultation of marine shellfish license reissuance and conditions of license for information. Any questions or concerns? None? I'm not really sure.
I guess the question is, yeah, what part do we play with regards to this? Does the mayor, Pat, do you have any comments with regards to this information?
All I've got is what we received and I don't have any other information. When I look at the map, it doesn't really pertain to our area. I suspect we've been sent this information based on some of the shellfish harvesters come into our community and to our docks. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes.
Councillor Robertson?
Yeah, no, when you look at the map, it really is, Janet pointed it out to me and I hadn't seen it before. It really is quite revealing how little there is. Maybe we should be replying and saying, how do we encourage more shellfish investment up here?
Yeah, not much happening.
As it happens, it's not a bad idea.
Other questions? Committee reports, draft minutes of the Bear Smart Committee meeting held September 3rd, 2024 for information. Any questions or Trina, you want to?
Just, it's all there. I think that we've all sort of noticed that it's not the bears so much this season, it's the wolves and the cougars, and so I'll touch more on that during my report, but yeah.
Mayor Pat Corbett with that.
So just speaking to that too, I know that our CAO has been in touch with the conservation officers. And so maybe our CAO, Heather Nelson Smith, could just elaborate a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I think one of the biggest issues is that we're not seeing a lot of phone calls being made to the Conservation Service when sightings are happening that could put the public at risk. So I think just trying to get the message out there that just because you call doesn't mean that it's going to mean a dead animal. In fact, the delay in calling is what could result in a dead animal. Because we know what the biggest issue is the human wildlife protection or human wildlife conflict issue, which is caused by humans. Because attractants are being left out, things are being, animals are being left off leash, et cetera, which is causing these animals to hang around a little bit more. Where you might just have a bear or a wolf or a cougar wandering through town, when they start hanging about because they have access to easily accessible food or other wonderful things to play with, that's when they become a problem. And then unfortunately they have to be destroyed. So the sooner we can get those calls into the Conservation Service, the sooner the conservation can come in and address the situation, assess the situation, and find out what the problem is, and then figure out what we need to do in order to prevent it from continuing to keep happening. So we can keep that animal moving through town and out back into the wild where they need to be. So.
Councillor Smith?
Yeah, if I could, thank you, Heather. Further to that as well, and talking to our wildlife coordinator, and I think I would be at fault too if I had them in my backyard, is that we're quietly taking videos of these wolves because we're amazed that we see them. But then we're getting them used to humans, like, oh, they're just gonna sit there and film me, where we should really be yelling at them to get out of our community. This is not a safe place for them to be, because, you know, we don't want our pets to be gone, as well as they could be harmed if they find a better or easier food source than out in the wild, right?
That's an excellent point. It's something that probably hasn't been said very much, is that people, instead of when they see them, is trying to scare them off within reason without putting themselves at jeopardy.
Of course.
Of course, but making it uncomfortable so that they see us as danger, not as just something that they're not worried about, right? Very good point. Any other questions or concerns? Going towards staff reports, Heather Nelson Smith, CAO temporary use permit, TUP-02-2024 for 7120 Market Street.
Yes. Thank you. So in front of you, you have a request for a temporary use permit for a metal storage container to be placed in behind where the Loaves and Fishes property is at 7120 Market Street. The location of the proposed location is in the rear yard in the grassy area within the red that you see there. And so the recommendation from staff, and you'll notice through my report, I'll back up just a little bit. I highlight the fact that we are in the process of amending zoning regulation by law to allow for metal containers to be used as storage or as accessory structures within our downtown core. Sorry, within the district of Port Hardy, but we have omitted them from the downtown core going forward. So even if we make the changes to the zoning regulation, it will not affect this property. And therefore we have requested this particular proponent to ask for a temporary use permit, which would grant them, what our recommendation is a 3-year temporary use for them to have a metal storage container in the back for their purposes. And that the recommendation would be that it would also conform with all building regulations, but also be screened with either a wrap or something to beautify it so that it can fit in within the downtown, so it doesn't just stand out like a metal storage container. And again, that would be for the 3 years, and council can then at that 3-year point look at extending that period for an additional 3-year term. But that would be up to the council that day, should the applicant wish to apply for that. However, I do just want to note that because we aren't proposing to make any changes to the C3 zoning for metal storage containers, if anything was to change during that period and it did allow for it, then they would be able to just continue in perpetuity beyond that point. But I take any questions if anybody has any.
I see it says for, like, in the purpose section, it says for 1 CCAN, but then down in recommendation, it says use of 2 shipping containers.
Oh, that would be a fault of mine. It should be 1.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
I'll make that recommendation.
Second,
Seconded by Councillor Dorwin
For 1.
for 1 CCAN. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Councillor Smith?
I just really like that you've, and the wrap is part of it. I think that's really important, just to make sure, so it doesn't stand out as a sore thumb, so that's great.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, current bylaws and resolutions, none in package. Pending bylaws, bylaw number 1164-2023, amendment to zoning bylaw 1010-2013. Council reports, start with Councilor Robertson.
Thank you. Being one of the non-UBCM members of the council, I will not talk about the UBCM. Just briefly, I was at a library board meeting. And it was the meeting that established the budget for the following year. So it's looking like, unlike last year, there will be a budget increase of about 6% of the budget. And it doesn't always translate exactly to what communities' levies might be, because it's based on population and property and assessments. But in our case, the levy will result in about a 6% increase to Port Hardy. So it's probably in keeping with a lot of budgeting that's beginning to happen. I was able to go, although I didn't make it with my family, unfortunately, Rivers Day at the Quatsi site. It was great. It was very cool with the dissections and just going over to the river and seeing the outflow pipe where all the fish are trying to get up the outflow pipe. So anyways, it's kind of cool. I was at a foundry meeting. Probably one of the things to note with the foundry is that their number of visits doubled in July. So they're already exceeding the use of the site that they're in right now, and they are planning to move to a separate site at this point. Nobody knows where the site is. They're contemplating that, and they were actually having an inspection of it very soon. So stay tuned to that. And I can't remember if I mentioned it last meeting or not, but Foundry was also the recipient of a donation of $450,000. And it was many people that were involved in it, but certainly Lemaire Logging and Eric Vukovic were central to that, as well as First Nations. So anyway, that's, and I don't remember a donation that size happening before too, so that's
great.
Well received. And I was also at Table of Partners meetings and Collaborative Services Committee. I'm not sure if I mentioned the last meeting, but the service plan is being written as we speak for the primary care network. And once the service plan is written and accepted, will have an impact on services in the community. And how the election goes. So, which, as it happens, is underway.
Yes.
Anyway, that's me.
Thank you, Councilor Dugas.
Thank you, Mayor, or Deputy Mayor.
Use the gavel on you.
Yeah. Please don't. Yeah, I guess, my report would be basically that I was fortunate enough to be at UBCM. And, I would like to thank Miranda and Louisa, and unfortunately, those two aren't here tonight, and Heather for putting the packages together for that. The booklet, which was, done excellent, and it kept me anyways online with regards to what was coming next and what we could expect, even though that there was some changes on the fly that Heather was trying to deal with as they changed the meetings on us, the day that they were gonna happen. And the other thing I'd like to thank the Mayor, Pat Corbett-Labatt, and Councillor John Tidbury for giving me the opportunity to go to the what was called the Provincial-Wide Community Forum, what was basically a whole day session talking about reconciliation. And Pat gave up her seat because that particular day on Monday, they had booked 6 meetings for us that day, and Pat Corbett Labatt and John were attending those meetings, and that was giving me an opportunity to go to that, community forum, which was awesome. Was a lot of great information. I won't get into all the details because it was a lot, but some of the things they were obviously talking about reconciliation and what, how we can, local government can deal with it. And some of the speakers were the city of Vancouver. They were the first city in Canada actually in October 2022 to adopt UNDRIP within their council. They adopted it in October of 2022. And they've been working collectively with their Indigenous nations in their area ever since then. And one of the main things that they work on is obviously working on their land development and action plan. And it's something that they're really, really proud of. And it's continuing to be very, very good for both of them, both parties. So that was kind of really neat to listen to. And then it also had a little session about implementation of and legislation with regards to UNDRIP within local governments. That was a very interesting topic, obviously. Then there was a discussion with regards to collaborative land use planning and the city of Port Alberni working in conjunction with their Indigenous nations, with their group. They're working on land use planning with regards to the city's waterfront. So they've come up with some really interesting plans moving forward. So that's working really well. Another one was, it's called Inclusive Regional Governance, and it was basically the West Bank First Nation group. And they've got self-governing, and they've got signed their treaties, and they're working along with the regional district of the Central Okanagan and talking about land use planning and working together with other projects that are coming up in the future too. So that's working really, really well with them. And obviously they talked about the importance of both parties and recognizing their roles as a regional district and as a First Nation group, the West First Nation nation, I should say. And they were talking about the importance of the district's political and legal and economic and social and cultural, but also talking about their political and economic and social and cultural life within their nation. And they're combining them together and they're working very well together. So those are some of the things that were in those meetings, and it was really good. But one of the highlights of the meeting, I have to say, was Jody Wilson-Raybould was there and gave a talk right at the end. And her talk was unbelievable. I mean, she brings it all together, right? Because of her experiences, right? Because of her experiences with her nation that she grew up in, and then being through her political career as she stepped forward, and how it was received in the different levels of government that she was involved with, and talked about her frustrations when she was sitting at the federal table, especially when she was her high position with regards to what was her last position? She was the Solicitor General, and she was saying how difficult was for her to be able to bring her concept with regards to her beliefs and what she was raised on and how we could work together. And she said, when you're working in caucus, she says it definitely throws a lot of twists into the picture. And she basically was there, and she had a book, and it's called True Reconciliation: How to Be a Force in Change. And she did a presentation there, and then she talked a lot about it in this book in her presentation. But I was fortunate enough to be able to buy the book from her, and got a book for our mayor, and even got her to hold up the book with it signed and everything, and sent the picture to our mayor, and she was pretty excited about it. But I did get a chance to talk to Jody there about the possibility of, because was worked with Colleen Hemphill with regards to the treaty plan for the Guasalanamada Nation over the years earlier. And she's very familiar with our area, being that she grew up in that Campbell River area. And I said, we would really like her to come up here and sit down with all of our local governments, like in our regional district, and our Indigenous nations, our brothers and sisters that live in our area, bring them all together and maybe do a talk to the whole group, similar to what she talks about in her book, but but kind of bringing us all together as we can work together moving forward, because she's been on both sides of the fence, right? And she knows how things work, and she's, well, hopefully, maybe we can get her up here. So I was talking to Colleen about it, because I had an opportunity to sit with Colleen Hempel at the meetings. And we were kind of talking back and forth, and she said that, yeah, we'll work together and try to, with the district and with the, Gosling Nation, to talk about maybe trying to get her up to do a talk to everybody. I think it would be awesome. She would be really good. So, and the only other thing that I could bring up was with regards to our meeting with BC Hydro. We had an opportunity to sit down and talk to them, and they're talking about still looking at the 2-tier rate system and making some improvements to that. But they also know that the provincial government has put $36 billion on the table for hydro improvements. And basically, what they said, $21 billion to sustain the existing systems and assets. And they know that sometimes they have to shut the power down in our particular area for a given period of time, but that's to upgrade the system, right? They're working really, really hard to upgrade the system. In 2022, the transmission lines, they spent $1,040,000 working on our distribution system up in this particular area. And it's really, really great. I also, we're gonna talk to them about other things, but they said that they had already done, next year, the next 3 years, they got $17 million allocated. And they talked about 36, they did 36 structural replacements already on our system. And 500 kilometers of vegetation removal on our area. You probably noticed that we've had a lot less interference, especially on the main line coming up from Gold River. And they're working hard to try to make up. And they're also doing a study right now, which is kind of interesting, because when we had a review with regards to our hydro up here, we had talked about the possibility of a battery backup system. Well, at this particular time, they're actually doing a study, and what they say, sometime in the spring, they're hoping to have that study ready. And it's basically for our particular area. Instead of replacing the whole transmission line all the way up from Gold River up to here, they're talking about a backup battery system that if we get cut off, we're gonna have power still. So that's the plan, or that's what they're looking at. So I think that was pretty good. And Councillor Tidby was there with me at that meeting. I'm sure he's got some things that he could talk about it as well. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, the only addition that the hydro that I found interesting is we was always told that the line was overused. Well, apparently not. Okay, going down, it is overused, but coming back up, they have additional power to be able to use, because now Port Alice went offline, so they have that additional power to be used. This convention, it was packed with a lot of meetings.
Yep.
A lot of time was I walked from meeting to meeting, and we spent a lot of time with meetings. But one of them that I wasn't able to attend because I was at another meeting was on health, and we expressed our abundance of amusement of the patient care and the helicopter service that was being brought into this area, and how it's really been a godsend. And we find out now that that will continue until March 31st, was it? March,
yeah.
Something like that. And when those figures come in, they'll have a good idea whether it will continue on and things like that. The advantage the helicopter over fixed wing is that they're able to get into smaller communities. You know, they can land a helicopter in all the little islands around, as well as because we do have a helicopter pad here, but other communities don't have helicopter pads. So, and we're cutting down the ambulance service because now they can just put the patient right from the hospital right onto the chopper and off they go to the hospital down there. And so quick delivery and good things like that. Highways, on one, we talked about more webcams from the south side as well as the north side. And we also talked about the internet service, how we'd like to see more of that. I pointed out to him that the two signs leaving Campbell River and the sign just down by Paul McNeil to the side of that. It gives the number of to report any conditions on the road, but you don't have no cell coverage, so not very good. So I pointed that out to him. I said I pointed out that Lisa could really look at Saywood Junction about putting internet right there.
Mhm.
And that was it. Like I said, most of the meeting was, I really got some good vibes out of the ministers and the staff. The staff is always more interested because you can freely talk there rather than it's all in a time period. Okay, we get 15 minutes for a minister and we get 30 minutes for the staff members, so you can always talk more. But most enjoyable. I'm always glad that I'm able to attend this and represent Port Hardy in all these meetings. It's a good, it brings things. We've talked. We did community forest, and we brought back some good ideas on how we continue with that. We're waiting now, basically, till the election's over and who becomes the forest ministry, and somehow we can go in mass and perhaps go down to Victoria and plead that case to get more acreages. I was honored. Some of you were there with a long service recognition from UBCM, and we went to the gala. All of us, the rest of I thought I was keeping it a secret, but
It got out.
it got out, and they all came along. So
It was all good, John.
yeah, so it was quite an honor. So
25 years.
25 years, yeah.
25 years,
You didn't bring it here so everybody could see it.
no, I go on. And to cap it all off, we're getting on the ferry back home, and we bump into Louis Pasaglia.
Yeah.
And so that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So it
Some
was,
of you that may not know who that is, he was the kicker for the BC Lions and still holds the record for the most points. Is that not correct?
that is correct.
On the offside, he was my grade 1 teacher's husband.
Ooh.
Oh,
He is. Still,
And she was with him too?
yeah, she was with him too. We met them both. But yeah, it's next year it's in Victoria. And
Yeah.
so it should be interesting. Everything is on hold, as everybody knows now.
Yep.
Until after the election, and then we'll see what happens then. And the other things I attended, I also attended the VINWAG, which is the Vancouver Island Woodlot Association group, and we're talking about the new standard that is going to replace the Canadian standard.
CSO.
Yeah, and it's scary. The new standard is very. The Europeans have putting a lot of restrictions on reporting of it all. So more to come, and I've asked for a copy of that, and so I can pass it on to you all and you get a better idea of what the new regulations are gonna consist of. Did a Filamy Days wrap-up meeting, but we're having another one in January. So.
Sure, I'm on that list.
Yeah. You will be.
Thank you.
Got you down there marked,
Yeah. Perfect.
and that'll be my report.
Thank you, Councilor Shaver. Councilor Smith?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. September 11th, I was planning on attending the Filamy Days follow-up meeting. I submitted my feedback, but I missed it because I had to drive my wife to Nanaimo to fly to be with family in Miami, so not good news there. On September 15th, the Terry Fox Run, I did the welcome speech for the mayor and deputy mayor as they were unable to attend. Fantastic job on that, Janet. Your work on that is commendable, and I'll let you say the highlight from that event. So well done. The Port Hardy Farmers Market, it was the second to last one, so that went really well. The weather was absolutely perfect, beautiful for both the run as well as the market. And incredible to see Conanati Farms and Oliver product. It was pretty great. I was taking over as market manager for oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. Anyway, he had to go back to school, so I took over for him and got to learn the new program, and just great. I love that event for us. September 17th. It was the volunteer community group fair. So that was the first one that we've had in a very long time. I thought that was amazing. Thank you so much to Port Hardy Recreation for putting that on. It was great to see all of the service groups and sports and community groups and everyone under the same roof. And I'm looking forward. I know there was talk about a community calendar. So how great will that be to have for everyone to know, because there was quite a few things on that day too. So we probably would have had more attendance if we had a community calendar where we all knew what was going on and could sort of plan around that. But just amazing to see everyone together. And of course, Filamy Days, it was funny because all of the volunteers for Filamy Days were spread out at all the different tables. So we're like, yeah, I see our Filamy Days volunteers are volunteers everywhere. September 19th, I attended a really great, a little event. Man, was it amazing. It was the Port Hardy Museum put it on. Robin, our curator, along with the Fox Queen, and they have what's called Messages on Doors, a heart circle. And was it ever beautiful? So they had food by Mabel Knox and her sister Winnie. Incredible to see everyone come together, and it's about truth and reconciliation and getting the awareness out there. So there was drumming and singing, and then we all painted rocks in sort of thinking about truth and reconciliation and put it in this beautiful box that an artist had done. Just gorgeous. Like it was a really great event, and I think Robin will be putting a lot more and utilizing the visitor center space. So that was pretty great to see there. September 22nd, again, Cops for Cancer. Thank you, Janet, for putting Port Hardy, our community, on the event, for doing what you did, and we raised a lot of funds. Again, I'll let you be the shouter out of that, but thank you for that. If it weren't for you and your posts, I mean, the mayor and I both found it through your posts to be able to attend and support you and then just be there. What an incredible event, and I hope that we can make some changes and make sure that Port Hardy is there and our community is there, shouting them and cheering them on as they come into our community and let them know that we're behind them. Also that day was the BC Rivers Day, which Councillor Robertson had mentioned. What a great event that was. It was the the biggest attendance, so thank you Port Hardy Recreation again for that they've had in all the years that they put it on. 395, I think, was the amount of people, and I was helping out at the Wild Safe booth, and I think we had over 160-ish people that we were talking to, which was fantastic, like both residents as well as visitors, and just letting them know about the wolves as well as cougars. And she even had the pelts from the conservation officers, but they weren't able to attend, and just some really good information. What a great event for the family, all ages, even us adults as well as the kids. It was yeah, a really great event. So well done, especially the like the parking. I couldn't park in the parking lot. I had to park on by the sushi place. I couldn't believe it. So well done. I think that was yeah, fantastic event. Lots going on while you guys were doing our community proud in at UBCM. So thank you very much to all of you that attended. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Gerwood.
All right, so yeah, first was the Terry Fox run, and that I think it was 2019 that I took that over. And this year was the most our community has ever raised throughout the entire history of it. So that's it was over $8,000 was raised at the Terry Fox run. Myself, with my pledge to shave my head, if I raised 1,000 an inch at 18,500, I didn't raise that, but that got me a phone call from one of the Terry Fox family members as one of the top 200 individual fundraisers in Canada or BC or something like that.
Amazing.
Somewhere. Also, our $8,000 was the fourth on the island of all the places on the island. I didn't count how many there were, but the only ones on the island that beat us were Nanaimo, Parksville, and Duncan.
Wow.
Like Victoria and Camp River and all those other places. We rocked it.
We'll do better next year.
That's right, even better next year. And then, yeah, I went to UBCM. It is a full schedule, which is fantastic. The meetings, I find the meetings are the most effective part of the whole thing. I find it more effective than the resolutions that go forward and everything. So really happy to get right in front of ministers and stuff. And I felt the most promising part was the request for more tenure, more annual level for our community forest, which is in for recreation in our community. And we were huge representation. We had Port McNeill, Port Alice, us, and Ione from the community forest board there. So we were quite a crew, which was nice. And then when I got back, I went to Rivers Day as well. I just popped in there very briefly because I was actually super nervous about going to, have a cold head very soon. So I was gonna stay around. So yeah, the Cops for Cancer event. Yes, I'd raised like 4,700 and something through Terry Fox, and the morning of the shave, I was at like 3,000-ish for the Cops for Cancer. And so I decided I would still go ahead with the head shave if I raised at least as much for Cops for Cancer. So at the event, we're like 1,000 and something short, and Mayor Corbett Labatt came through as well as my husband, and then the Ireton family with $1,000 donation. So
wow.
They made it happen, and it's pretty funny how traumatized other people were in the video, which took 15 minutes to shave my hair because there's so much of it. And one of the riders in the back, she looked like really like almost 6 or so. Like I was so worried about me losing my hair, but I actually felt quite liberated. So I have lots more time. And so I just want to thank Councillor Smith for doing a great opening at the Terry Fox. I welcome everybody, and you had the seriousness and the some lightheartedness stuff in there too. It was really a good speech. So thank you for that. A huge thank you to everyone who donated, many in this room and many people in the community. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Gerwood. Mayor Pat Corbett Labatt.
So I was privileged on September 12th to attend the official jurisdictional signing agreement between the Gwasala Nakwada, the federal government, and the province of BC. It was a huge celebration. There was probably around 200 people there, and congratulations to the Gwasala Nakwada Nation for having this jurisdictional agreement. It's it should be life-changing for many of their people. I attended the UBCM, and as others have said, it's a time for advocating for our community, and often we advocate for the whole regional district as a whole. And it's hard work. It's hard work to go and advocate and plead our case. We're a small community when they're hearing so much from other people, but as the other counselor said, it's so worth it going. And some of the highlights was going to Minister Dix and reminding him of his promise for us to be back open 24/7 ER, and we're getting close. We're getting really close, and he hasn't forgotten the promise, and neither has Island Health forgotten the promise. So from that ministers meeting, the Mayor Fernie and Mayor Buchanan and I met with Island Health directly and talked about different services that we need and want, and advocated again at another impromptu meeting. The helicopter service is huge, and one of the things we advocated for is getting that service into Alert Bay, because right now they don't have a helicopter pad at their hospital, and at nighttime when their ER is not opened, their patients have to go by either water taxi, by water taxi. And if it's nasty out, that makes the trip even nastier. So a helicopter, if they're really sick, will take, for example, from Port Hardy to Campbell River 20 minutes. Sometimes it has to come back because of fog, but for the most part, it's 20 minutes. So it's a huge service. And having it here and being extended to March 31st, 2025 is great. Other things that gave us hope and ideas, maybe more so ideas, like hope with the community forest, hope with North Island College. I met with them and discussing different programs in that and services that they can do in Port Hardy, but as well talking to the Ministry of Citizen Services, I believe it's called, about our cell service along the highways and what can we do, because we know that to get consistent cell service we need to have hydro all along the highway, and we don't have it from Sayward North. But they came up with some innovative and creative ideas that we can look at and discuss further with maybe some businesses and with Hydro and with the Ministry of Highways, and how we can all work collaboratively to at least have more service for 911 calls that are vital if there's an accident, more so than just chatting with our friends. It's the 911 calls vital. And as Councillor Tidbury brought up about the fire trucks from WAS and the ambulance attendants getting to an accident in a timely manner. Also talked about a youth shelter and how we could go about trying to get a youth shelter, and just different ideas that we can pursue that none of us had even thought about. So that in itself is huge. The banquet, we were so pleased to go and witness Councillor Tidbury getting his long service award, and it's for 25 years, but as Councillor Tidbury mentioned to me after maybe a drink or two, he's approaching 35 years of service. And congratulations, Councillor Tidbury. Your service to our community is huge, and often we recognize it, but I don't think we say it out loud enough. So thank you very much. Here's my clap to you. I attended the BC Rivers Day. Kudos to the Department of Recreation for getting that small grant to get that going. As it's been mentioned already, the attendance was great. I went there shortly after 10 o'clock. The parking lot was full. I parked over by the trail and walked down the trail to it. And it was amazing seeing the different ages of people there and the smiles on people's faces. I'm so glad the Quatsi hatchery facility is back opened. And I was over by the tank. This is really cute. I was over by the tank, and the volunteer that was there was saying to this little boy about taking some feed and just throw it in a tank. And the little boy got all shy, and I said, I'll do it. I'll show you what happens. So I threw a little handful of feed in there, and the swarming of the fish coming up to eat was so cool. And then he went over and threw out some feed and was very thrilled with how the fish came to eat and all the rest of it. The Cops for Cancer, Janet Dorward, you are an inspiration. And when you talk about shaving your head, that's pretty amazing and very brave. And when you talked about one of the riders and her face and how nervous she was or concerned, and really all the emotions, I said to their official photographer who hadn't noticed, I said, you need to take some pictures of the women riders in the crowd. Their faces had to be recorded because it was quite incredible. But thank you, Councillor Dorward, for being a role model and raising so much funds for such a worthy cause. So thank you very much. And I'm not there today because I'm on my way to Ottawa for the unveiling of Stan Hunt's memorial pole for Truth and Reconciliation Day, or the International Day of Truth and Reconciliation. And if anyone is interested in watching it, it's going to be live streamed either on Facebook or YouTube from the Canadian Museum of History. And it should be pretty amazing. They've got 3 different events happening on that day, but the public one will be happening in the afternoon. So I think that's about it for me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. For me, haven't been able to attend much meetings. I've been down 3 guys at work and blew a transmission in my truck, so it's been pretty hectic at work. But just something a couple things I want to highlight that have been said, but doesn't matter. They can be said over and over again. First of all, I want to thank Trina for stepping in for myself at the Terry Fox run and speaking. Thank you for that. And I heard that you did a great job, so thank you. I want to personally thank Janet and speak to you being an inspiration for our community. It's huge. It can't be said enough that what it takes to have to literally shave your head in front of a crowd of people and have everybody watch you, and then do that all, just out of an unselfish cause for yourself to, promote Cops for Cancer, and then everything you did for the Terry Fox run that you do year after year. It truly is as inspiring. We are lucky to have you in our community as a counselor, as a citizen too. So thank you for that.
Everybody at this table volunteers a lot in our community, so thank you, everybody.
Awesome. And then a thank you to all the staff. I can't make it to UBCM. It's incredibly difficult for me to get away, but it means I know that we're in good hands. Our community's in good hands with who goes, and I know it's a lot of work, especially hearing meeting after meeting, and it's jam packed. So for those of you that do go and that you're representing our community, our district, thank you very much, because you guys are doing what needs to be done. And I know it's probably tough going meeting after meeting, but hearing that you guys get the one-on-one time with the ministers means a lot. Because I'm sure that's when you, like you said, you can really start getting stuff done and asking questions and really representing our community.
We talk fast.
Yes. Yeah. You probably have to, yeah. And then another, talk about inspiration or community too, John, I'm sure you hear it, but you don't, we keep saying it, that you do so much for our community. And the fact that you're, like you said, approaching 35 years of that service is huge. Not to mention just that, it's the fire department, it's community, it's everything, Lions Club, it's everything that you do. And, it's huge. And the town's lucky to have you, our community's lucky to have you. So thank you. I will be stepping in for our mayor at the Truth and Reconciliation Parade. I'm looking forward to be able to say some words on behalf of the district, and then of course on behalf of myself. I'm trying to work out a way that I can photograph it as usual, but also be able to get down there kind of to speak to. So I am looking forward to that. And then it's it's gonna be the usual congregating at 10:30 at the high school and then
Yeah,
moving on from then, you know, the more people we get, the more support, the better. So, you know, Rachel, let everyone know to be there. Next is, I guess just, overall, I just want to say that I love the direction that we're, like, our community's going with our district, our staff, everything. So much is getting done for our community and people are really starting to stop me in the streets and say, like, you know, a lot of things happen, you might not hear it, but a lot of things are happening in regards to recreation and everything else that is getting done. And that's from hard work on our staff, council, mayor, everyone involved, directors. You know, it's huge. So everybody should be proud of what we're accomplishing. And sometimes you don't hear it enough, but I think the direction that we're all heading is it's awesome. So that's it for me. Correspondence, or sorry, not correspondence, information announcements. Again, September 30th, 2024 is the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Parade, again, starts at 10:30 at the high school. October 2024, got Foster Family Month. October 1st, International Day of Older Persons. The 5th, World Teachers Day. 6 to 12, Fire Prevention Week. Tax sale, 12:30 is Coffee with the Mayor on October 7th. October 8th, we'll be going back to our regular council meeting and committee. October 17th, the AM Shake-Up with BC and coagula siren alarm tests. And then October 21st to 26th is Waste Reduction Week. Notice in camera meeting, none in package. Notice to adjourn. Officer Smith. And then we'll take any questions pertaining to the agenda. We'll start with anyone online first and then move to public. Was there anyone online first? Okay. Naomi.
Thank you. I forgot to tell you guys of two things happening over the next 2 weeks. The first one is Go by Bike. We have.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
I signed up.
I haven't signed up, but I will.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
signed
you.
up.
Yeah, so anytime, get on your bike, log your kilometers.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing. We've created a little district, team as well that you can be a part of. And then the other one to go with Go by Bike and also Truth and Reconciliation is this Tuesday, October 1st. We're showing a film called Dirt Relations. And it's all about building trails and riding bikes together to provide powerful insight into being an ally with the Indigenous people and working towards reconciliation. And it said, reduced it, said trail building is an amazing tool when it comes to reconciliation. We're working side by side in the dirt, talking about the past and talking about the pain and about the hurt. And there's no way to build a better bond working shoulder to shoulder. So it's kind of like a documentary and it's 40 minutes long. It's this Tuesday at 6 o'clock and during the day, a bunch of the schools coming to watch it as well. So it's a free film if anyone is available.
Good.
that's at the Civic
Thank you.
Center.
And the Civic Center.
Okay, thank you, Naomi.